Good morning, anyone that's watching or watching the past broadcast. This is Lewted with another review, and this is the last 4 factions I'm going to be going over. They are the Boii, Getae, Nervii, and Tylis. All of them are Barbarian. I mean, I probably will be done with the overview in like 10 minutes, so let's get started. Boii is a free LC faction. I can't remember when they came out, but it came out maybe after Caesar and Gaul and slightly before Hannibal at the Gates. Like Massalia, they have axe warriors, and they're the only they and Massalia are the 2 barbarian factions that have them. I mean, Massalia is a Greek and barbarian faction, but Boii is completely barbarian, so that's nice. Their key unit is this unit right here, and I'll explain why in a minute. So I've gone over Noble Horse and Oathsworn, and those are their 2 general units. Moving over to melee infantry, we've gone over all of these units. Naked warriors belong to their Arverni as well. Sword followers, the key unit in this army, and the only real special unit that makes them different from Massalia and Arverni. They have 39 melee attack, 40 weapon damage. So already you can tell that they are pretty good in melee. 27 charge, 57 melee defense, 75 armor, 60 health, 65 morale. I mean, although no other barbaric unit will have the same killing power as Oathsworn, these guys are heavy, which means they're more maneuverable, like they're even useful for flanking. However, I like to use these guys for frontal engagements, and then flank with naked warriors, and then hit the rear with axe warriors and Celtic warriors, or you can hit the rear with these guys too. Spear infantry, I've gone over these 2. Veteran spears are a slightly higher tier spear unit. They have better melee defense, but the melee attack and weapon damage are about the same. They have 28 melee attack, 26 weapon damage, 15 bonus versus large, 22 charge, 70 melee defense, 75 armor, 60 health, and 65 morale. A pretty good unit, especially when you consider the morale difference between these 2. I mean, if you want, like, these guys have shield screen while these guys don't. So if you want a unit that's somewhat very defensive, you know, these guys are a good unit to bring. Moving over to missile infantry, I went over these 2. However, I did not go over Celtic bowmen, and the reason is because I was comparing them to Gallic bowmen. Gallic bowmen belong to the Arverni, like, naturally, and they belong to Massalia as mercenaries. The difference between the 2 units is that Gallic hunters have better range, and I think they have better shots per minute as well. Yes, they do. Overall, when it comes to melee infantry, Celtic warriors are better than Gallic warriors, even though Gallic warriors have 58 melee defense. When it comes to missile infantry, Gallic hunters are better than Celtic bowmen. Anyway, 35 missile damage, 125 range, 6 shots per minute, 10 armor, 45 health, 25 morale. I've gone over these 3. Heavy horse also belongs to the Arverni. Field artillery and fixed artillery, nothing special. So, strengths and weaknesses. I mean, the strengths is that they have axemen, which makes them somewhat useful when you're facing an armored, very armored units. The reason being, obviously, because when you're facing an armored unit, they tend to block more damage than units that have little to no armor. When axe warriors go up against a unit that has like no armor, like naked warriors, they lose very significantly. Not just because of the price difference or the melee attack and bonus versus infantry, but because, yes, although a base damage of 10 is nice, these guys do more damage overall. Remember that the bonus versus infantry is applied to melee attack and weapon damage, and I'm not sure if it applies to charge as well. I doubt it. The weakness is their low tier bow units. I mean their low tier missile infantry. Although they have a slinger, a bow unit, and a javelin unit, they're all really they all have low morale and will tend to rout if they're handled with little care. Melee cav is fine, everything else is fine. We're going to move over to Getae now. Now the reason why I didn't do Getae before the Adjacent Kingdom is because they only have one unit in common. Oh boy. They only have the Falksmen in common. There are 3 new units. Actually, there are a bunch of new units that I have to go over because all of these are Dacians. Noble Spears are high tier spear unit, and their highest tier for Getae obviously. 32 melee attack, 30 weapon damage, 15 bonus versus large, 32 charge, 75 melee defense, 80 armor, 65 health, 70 morale. Noble Swords, 43 melee attack, 45 weapon damage, 0 bonus versus infantry, 36 charge, 67 melee defense, 80 armor, 65 health, 70 morale. Would lose to Oathsworn for sure. And Noble Horse. This is a rare unit for a Barbarian faction. You'll never ever see a Barbarian faction have a heavy shock cav unit. I don't think I've gone over any Barbarian faction that has shock units. And so Getae are the only faction that are barbaric and have a shock unit. Anyway, 53 melee attack, 25 weapon damage, 10 bonus versus large, 63 charge, 22 melee defense, 60 armor, 100 health, 70 morale. And if I haven't mentioned this before, Getae is they're located north of the Adjacent Kingdom in the campaign, and they are in modern day Romania. And I think the Adjacents are in modern day Bulgaria. Anyway, Falksmen I've gone over, Axe Warriors I've gone over, Noble Swords. Now we move over to Spears. I went over Spears because they're mercenaries for the Adjacent Kingdom. I mean, there's nothing special about this unit. This unit, Spear Warriors, aren't special either. They have 16 melee attack, 22 weapon damage, 25 bonus versus large, 17 charge, 61 defense, 65 armor, 50 health, and 45 morale. Heavy spears. One thing that's interesting about heavy spears compared to armored spears is that in the campaign you get these guys after armored spears, even though armored spears are a better unit. And I think I know why, but I won't say why. Anyway, 23 melee attack, 22 weapon damage, 25 bonus versus large, 23 charge, 58 defense, 65 armor, 55 health, 45 morale. They also have shield screen and counter cavalry tactics. Armored spears, 26 melee attack, 26 weapon damage, 50 bonus versus large, 26 charge, 65 melee defense, 75 armor, 55 health, 55 morale. Missile infantry. The Dacians have a pretty decent, or above average, I should say, selection of missile infantry. They have Dacian bowmen, which have 35 missile damage, 125 range, 6 shots per minute, 10 armor, 45 health, 25 morale. They have Dacian skirmishers, 32 missile damage, 80 range, 7 shots per minute, 40 armor, 45 health, 25 morale. Heavy bowmen. They come after Dacian bowmen in the campaign. They have 35 missile damage, 155 range, 30 armor, 45 health, 40 morale. Moving over to Dacian heavy skirmishers. They have 32 missile damage, 80 range, 7 shots per minute, They also have 26 melee attack and 40 weapon damage, which is notable. Makes them somewhat useful when they run out of javelins against low tier spear infantry. They have 60 armor, 50 health, 40 morale, as well as quick reload. I've gone over Thracian Peltas, Shock Cav, Melee Cav, Spear Horseman. Not the best melee Cav. I think they lose to, well actually they definitely lose to Citizen Cav. 31 melee attack, 27 weapon damage, 10 bonus versus large. 31 charge, 36 melee defense, 60 armor, 90 health, 45 morale. Missile Cav, they have Bow Horseman, which is nice. They have 40 missile damage, 125 range, 6 shots per minute. They also have 10 armor, 70 health, and 35 morale. So use these guys with care. Thracian Cavalry, 32 missile damage, 80 range, 7 shots per minute, 40 armor, 75 health, 35 morale. All artillery is the same. If I haven't gone over this unit, it's because they're a Bastion Scorpion. I think the difference between this and a Polybolus is that this fires slower, but retains the same missile damage. And it might have the same range as a Polybolus. No, it has better range and better missile damage, but less shots per minute. And less ammunition. So strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, their key unit is the Falks. Even though they're a low tier unit, it works somewhat well, or somewhat better with the Getae than it does with the Thracians, because the Thracians simply rely on shock value and getting as much kills in the early stages of engagement as possible so they can rout the enemy. The weakness, the strengths are that Noble Swords are a good unit. They're a good unit, sorry. The only weakness I can see is their bad melee cav, because Noble Horsemen are, as I said, they're the only shock cav that a Barbarian faction will have. But when you compare them to Spear Horsemen, no matter what shock, these guys will come out on top. And these guys are better to bring better to bring on the battlefield. However, they're pretty expensive. So it's up to you. Another weakness that I found is that besides Axe Warriors, you're stuck with Noble Swords and Falksmen. If there was like another tier between these two, I think this faction would be set, but there isn't. So that's another downfall. Spear Infantry is fine, but like nothing really special about their Spear Infantry. So yeah, nice shock faction.